Day 7. About to enter the Twilight Zone. I'm following Andrea's family down to the seamounts where I hope to observe them hunting. Irina has been testing our samples and is worried about a harmful algal bloom being somewhere nearby, so I am to keep an eye out for that. Check. I'm also keeping an eye out for more turtles. I know they're out there, ready to dive. I'm in and okay.
And we're streaming.
Hello everyone, welcome, or welcome back. I'm diving near a seamount region, also known as the Twilight Zone, because it is just beyond reach of the sun. And we'll be taking some questions live, so be nice.
We'll also be testing a playback system to interact with whales.
Want to hear something cool? So do I. I'm hoping that buoy can send a little message to our humpback friends.
That's right. Andre is going to serenade some humpbacks.
Well, not me, but using a song I generated from other recordings.
Another leatherback turtle, Andre. And feasting on some moon jellies.
That is odd. Is that the same one we saw before?
It looks bigger, but let me zoom scan it to be sure. We can run the sample in the lab, but I am sure this is a different one.
Do they typically travel together? Wouldn't it be surprising to find two this far off course?
Yes, it would be.
And yet, here they are.
Welcome back, turtles. Enjoy your beautiful moon jellies. Okay, time to see if any humpbacks respond to our song.
Jordan wants to know how you will know.
Great question. If we have recorded him before, we'll see if the influence of our song affected his.
Scientists believe whales from one region can influence the song of whales from another when they mix.
Dana squid. It looks like they're hunting...
Lanternfish.
Well called, Irina. We'll make you a sea witch yet.
I'm sorry, a what?
Let's scan a few to pick up their hunting behavior. Here goes. Hey Andre, we've recorded a song from this one before, right?
We have.
How quickly can you compare his two songs?
Well, I need to wait for his song to complete at least one full cycle.
And how long is that?
20 minutes, maybe more.
Wow, that's a long, slow ballad.
Scott from Denver wants to know if they eat each other.
Some do. I think this one was upset he missed out on his prey.
Great. I've been waiting for this. I have just activated your UV light.
First of all, don't mess with my suit when I'm diving. Secondly, you spoiled my surprise. What am I looking for here?
Oh, one of our sperm whale tags must have fallen off.
Andre, you really need better glue for these.
I don't use glue.
I've tracked down the tag. It's in a cave. I wonder how it got in here. Oh! What the?
Mirай!
An octopus!
Are you okay?
Other than getting inked in front of a live global audience?
You know, you might want to get that off you. It will probably attract predators.
Oh, wonderful.
Swell sharks have developed biofluorescence to communicate with each other. Their eyes have special adaptations for the UV light. Now you can see what a swell shark sees.
That's what I'm talking about.
Next, you can try the black light I installed in your sub.
You did not. You did install it in your dorm room back in the day. Your wife showed me pictures.
Well, uni was a good time. Okay, last boy of the dive. How are you feeling?
Chances of suit holding out until the end of the dive? Good. Hope of seeing if our humpback song had any effect? Well...
You know this, but for the viewers, science is not magic, it takes patience.
I'd like to believe in a little magic. Sperm whale. I think it's... Yes, it's hunting! First time we'll be able to document it with Andre's technology. Come on, come on. And then the buzz. I got it!
Raj from Mumbai wants to know, what's the buzz?
I think he was making a joke.
Got it. But what is the buzz? How is it used?
We're not entirely sure, but definitely associated with being close to prey.
This is just a warm-up. The real fun will come in the deep.
Andre. Well, there's no way these little ones are thousands of miles off course. Right, Andre?
Give him a minute.
Right. Let's scan a few of these to get their gender. There's a tiny tag here. Andre?
Chen from Shanghai wants to know why you care about their gender.
Well, their sex is determined by the temperature of their nests. Warming beaches wiped out the turtles in this region.
Believe in a little magic now, Andre?
I may just start, but let me check on that tag first.
Oh, wow. Glad we didn't miss this.
Beautiful.
Yeah, they must have been hunting down past the rift.
I think we found our spot for our first deep dive.
Mirai, check out that one closest to you. What's that on its skin?
Not sure I can catch them. They're headed to the surface. Might just be a scrape from a ship strike.
Yeah, let's hope that's all it is.
Let's end it here. I know it seems like Andre worries about everything, but I really understand where that comes from. Everyone's seen the pictures, but I can tell you it was really tough to be doing hands-on work when we were losing entire species. For me, it was the whales. But for Andre, it was the turtles. I stayed to help him. Several of the other scientists did as well. By then, only Andre's protected nests were the ones producing turtles in the region. We all figured that the population was going to collapse, and eventually it did. But seeing this large man spend day after day carrying tiny turtles from the nest to the water, it inspired us to stay. I mean, coming back now, it feels like another world. Andre is not an angry man, Irina. He's just a man who gets angry when he sees people say it's too hard, or that they don't care at all.
Yeah.
Hi, Mirai. Sorry to miss the post-dive brief. I've been listening to our humpback recordings for hours and got myself in a kind of funk. Actually, I started listening to the humpbacks and then switched to Miles Davis. Anyway, I don't see any clear sign that our playback influenced any of the other whales yet, but I just know we're on the right track. I'm sorry to be in such a mood. Don't know what to make of those turtles or what's going on with our sperm whale family. Right. Catch you in a bit.
Ocean crashes on.
Jellyfish have mechanisms of self-repair. They're constantly getting bitten by turtles and chunks getting taken away. 50% of the jellyfish population are wounded. So they've gone through 500 million years living, persisting in the ocean in simplicity, and they've come up with some remarkable ways of living. There's something called the immortal jellyfish and how they age, aging in reverse, which we're just beginning to understand, where they get old and then degenerate back into a youth again. In understanding the gene pathways and how this happens, this could look at, humans. We don't have this capacity to age in reverse. It's like Benjamin Button, and it's here. And it just takes the kind of focus and dedication to look at that jellyfish and to grow that jellyfish and to figure out how to use the best available scientific tools to get at this question. It's just about kind of looking super deeply and letting the secrets unfold. The energy from our star flies through the universe, through our atmosphere, and hits us at the ground. But now, when we go underwater, the ocean properties of water are like pure blue filter. So it's going to filter out all these other wavelengths except blue. As you go down further, it's primarily blue, blue, blue till 700 meters. And at that level, there's still faint photons of sunlight in the blue range. And we call this the twilight zone. And there, animals are still perceiving a tiny little bit of our sun's energy. Below this, it's gone. 24/7 darkness. It turns out that there's a ton of color vision down in the deep. So it's like they're making enough light down there to be able to be satisfying all the eyes of the deep sea creatures. So it's not this totally dark world down there. It's still light. It's just the animals are making the light rather than the sun. We've designed all this technology to kind of satisfy our visual hardware. As I started looking at other animals, they have totally different hardware. And I've been looking at everything through these silly little primate eyes. We have to overcome our humanness to jump behind the world of a shark or another creature and see the world from their perspective. We found a biofluorescent shark, and it only sees right at the blue-green interface. So it's really just tuned to a very similar spectrum to the environment it lives in. This fluorescence was creating greater contrast for the shark. It's like this endless well of information. We're at the very tip of the iceberg.
These animals travel thousands of kilometers, navigating open oceans that have no physical landmarks. They have that innate ability to find their way. They're only sharing our beach for a short point in time, but they need protection because man has brought an ancient species to near extinction. I got involved at a time when hostilities were very real. People came with guns and machetes to poach a turtle. We would protect these animals at all costs. Because on the high tides, when the tide comes up, this area here will be flooded, right? So when the sea turtle lays her egg, the nest requires a constant temperature. And if we recognize that this nest is in a real bad spot, we choose a spot further inland on the beach that's stable, and then we would evaluate if the eggs were able to hatch because of us moving them. And in both cases, we're always right. So as the villagers began to benefit from the tourism that turtle conservation was creating, they saw that the turtle was worth more to them alive than dead. The children really love sea turtles. We educate them, but we involve them. And by so doing, we get them to a level of interest where they want to become actively involved. When we first started this conservation work, we would encounter at the height of the nesting season 30, 40 turtles. Now we encounter over 500. That's significant. Some people argue, well, that's nature. Leave them. Why protect them? Remember, humans have to intervene sometimes to help nature keep existing.
Day 12. Spent the last 5 days on an endless series of depth tests of Andre's deep diving suit. Guess he doesn't want me to implode on the live stream. I do hope it's giant squid proof though. The mapping drone located a brine pool near where Andrea's family has been hunting. That is before it went AWOL. Ready to dive. I'm in and okay.
You sure I can't talk you into another test dive at this depth before we stream?
Enough test dives. It's not like I'm doing a spacewalk.
Well, with this suit, you probably could.
Are we gonna talk about suit crush depth again?
I think we can probably roll.
Starting the live stream.
Welcome back, ocean friends. Tonight, I am deep. Midnight zone, no light from the surface steep. Tonight, we're using Andre's lure drone to mimic the Atolla jellyfish to lure large predators like the giant squid.
It's certainly not all my tech. I'm building on years of prior research.
Don't forget our mission to the brine pools.
Oh yes, Arena will fill you in on that later. Okay, Andre, how do I find the lure drone?
Look for blinking red lights in the water column. No need to get too close. You can activate the lure from there.
Andre, have you done this before?
I haven't, but others have.
How long until we can expect the lure to attract a predator?
It's hard to say. It's a big ocean. But if you lose patience, I would find some real Atolla jellyfish. I have a feedback system set up to improve the lure as you scan them.
Of course you do. For those watching, we will be scanning these Atolla jellyfish to make sure Andre's lure matches the real thing.
It does, but it can always be refined.
Not much confidence in humanity, but plenty in himself. Got the jellyfish scans, though Andre doesn't need them.
In truth, they should improve the lure. I would not waste your time.
Getting a few impolite comments on the screen pointing out that giant squid don't feed on Atolla jellyfish.
They're right. Actually, the Atolla puts on this light show when under attack, in order to lure creatures big enough to eat their attacker. Might have some useful human applications.
I think we need more Atolla scans to approve the lure.
Okay, whose idea was it to live stream this particular dive? I am glad I can't see the comments.
I would agree. My grandmother had a saying for times like this. I'm not going to try my grandmother's accent on a live stream, but loosely translated, it means if you get bored waiting for a giant squid, you can always go to a bride pool.
That's a pretty specific saying.
I noticed that these atollas were already making their blue alarm before you swam close.
Most likely a sign that they have detected predators in the region that threaten them.
That gave me a chill. I know how much you enjoyed that, but do you mind if we check out the brine pool before we check on our whale cam?
If you insist. You got what you wanted. This is my giant squid.
Is that another one of your grandmother's sayings?
No, but she often used this one. Hurry up and collect my specimens for me.
What an expressive language.
It's no giant squid, but I promise you, you won't have to wait to find it.
At long last, welcome to the brine pool. I know it's really a salt lake under the ocean, but it looks more like a witch's brew. I have been teasing Arena, but a brine pool is a diverse microenvironment within the ocean. It has its own ecosystem.
And each one is unique. So that means the microbiology is unique and could hold groundbreaking solutions to human problems. Each time I take new samples into a lab here on this ship, it's this magical discovery moment where I tingle all over. I fund my own research so I can pursue what I know to be important. And people ask me, how much money are you going to spend to collect some bacteria at the bottom of the ocean? If these bacteria hold the cure for a disease that relieves even just a small amount of human suffering, how do you put a price on that?
That is some giant squid.
Mirai, pushing your waypoint.
Sperm whales are back on the hunt.
Look for the drones. They will seek out the sound of the sperm whales and then idle nearby.
We hope that today, Andrea's tech will make it possible to document how a sperm whale hunts the giant squid. Let's go tag some sperm whales so we can eavesdrop on their hunting.
One of our viewers wants to know if there is a problem with the link, since the waypoints keep appearing and disappearing.
No problem. The drones are in stealth mode, so they will only track the whales by sound.
I better swim fast. We'll keep good watch over you. Whoa! just happened?
I think the squid knocked the camera right off.
I had that camera feed in full screen on my visor, and for a second, I thought it was lights out for me.
Sounds like a good time for the sub to pick you up. Live stream out.
It's Irina. Since there's no dive today, I'm going to lose myself in the wet lab to work on those samples you sent up from the brine pool. Hey, have you listened to my daughter's track? Interesting, right?
Mirai, remember the tag we found on the turtles? I put it out on the network and I got the strangest message back. I'm gonna take a tender to a small island nearby and check it out. I'll explain everything later. Still no mapping drone, by the way.
Hey, it's me. Nana didn't qualify for the study. Doctor says we missed the window. Whatever that means. Hard to tell what she remembers now. It's tough. Not sure my head's 100% there with school. Honestly, seems like a waste of money. Anyway, see you.
Sound to whales is everything. It's their hands. These are animals with the biggest brain on Earth and the most powerful sonic apparatus. They spend a lot of their time deep down. They're diving for an hour at a time in darkness. Just like a submarine is echolocating, they ping a signal out and then they wait for that signal to bounce off something and come back as the signal. And from that information, they could get an idea of what's there.
They constantly click, and that click sometimes can be really loud, and you can feel it in your body. It's like going to a DJ and feeling that bass. Once I had an experience with a sperm whale, it clicked, my ears almost like bounced back. It's really an amazing feeling, you know.
You don't develop a huge, complicated brain if you're not using it. Whales have little channels of communicating where they could talk to each other hundreds of kilometers away using sound.
Sperm whales make clicks in sort of rhythmic patterns that we call codas. Any family might have 20 to 25 different coda patterns that they use when they're having conversations with each other. And some of them are unique to different places in the world. In the Eastern Caribbean, they make a lot of what we call a 1 + 1 + 3. That sounds kind of like this. And that's only ever been recorded in the Caribbean. And it's been identical for the last 35 years. These are really different ways of life that are being labeled by these coda patterns. In the same way that human language is kind of a shorthand for where you come from. You can make a lot of missteps when traveling simply by speaking incorrectly or introducing yourself differently. Do you hug? Do you shake hands? Do you bow? And a growing concern has to do with the noise that we're putting into the ocean. Everything we do impacts everything they're doing. The sound is causing high levels of stress in animals like this. No one wants to live at a rock concert. You can imagine trying to have your home inside an arena while some metal band is playing. And that's increasingly what the ocean feels like.
Brine pools are amazing habitat. It's a lake on the bottom of the ocean, and it's this surreal seascape. Chemically, each one of them is unique.
These brines undoubtedly contain bacteria, archaea, and viruses that are unknown to science. We know that they're incredibly rich in undescribed life forms. They have the perfect cocktail, the perfect recipe for life. These sites aren't just salty, they can be violent, characterized by eruptions and incredibly unstable conditions. So to live in them, you have to not only be hardy, but you have to be able to endure constantly changing conditions because not one day is the same. The organisms that live there, they undergo a constant biological warfare with each other to dominate the environment, to survive in the system. The biochemicals that they produce to do that biological warfare are applicable to curing diseases like cancer, Alzheimer's. They produce antibiotics and antivirals that can also be used to improve human health. And we drop targets as we go, so we know exactly where we sample. Exploring these habitats is absolutely necessary because the metabolic potential there has the capacity to change the way we think about medicine, to change the way we think about antibiotics, based on our knowledge that we gain from studying these incredible environments in the deep sea.
Imagine if I was sent in to go study the Mona Lisa and I come in with a pair of snippers and I'm like, I'm gonna need to cut this baby up a little bit to see what kind of chemical composition is going on there. Like, you wouldn't do that, right? We don't have to kill these animals. We don't have to kill to understand. If we could do a single cell, that means we don't need to kill 20,000 animals to be able to really understand that one. We could do our work much more non-invasively.
So we are working this year on a new project to deploy tags on orcas. We need to learn more about the diet and how they use the habitat. So by deploying those tags, we get the information we need. It is the least invasive method. It is suction cups. So it is not a scratch on the whale afterwards, which is something we really like.
In the deep sea, we use these like robotic claws from the oil and gas industry that gets you the sample, but this is so archaic. So we've been designing something called squishy robot fingers, which are ways to be gentle when we study the deep sea. But I think we could even take this another level. There's some organism, we quickly encase it. It's like a medical checkup. We give it a swab to get its genome. We image it from all directions. We open it up, the animal goes away, and we have more information than we've ever had before. These animals are Mona Lisas. Our perception of them should change. We should be more delicate.